Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of liftandshiftdev. So today I'm going to talk about how to test React component properly. So right here I have a really simple component. The first thing it does is it fetch my user details from GitHub and then it display on the screen. For example, this is my name and my company, and I also have a toggle button to show the fun facts about me. So every time I click on this button, it's going to toggle the appearance and disappearance of the I'm from Sydney sentence. So basically this is really simple components. However, it is comprised of handling async fetch and also handling the click event to toggle the fun fact. So let's think about how to test this component. Before I come into testing this in the code, I want to show you guys about this my setup. So in the library that I'm using is the testing library React, and if you want to set this test framework properly, you need to install these two dependency as a dev dependency, by the way, the jest DOM and React. And also in my jest config, I include a setup file after env jest or setup.ts, which is this file right here. And in this file, I just import the jest DOM. So jest DOM basically provide API like not in a document, something like that. And most important thing is barbell config. So just gonna use this barbell config to render the components in JS DOM. And when we write the test, we're gonna look at that JS DOM and verify if the component appear or not. Okay, so let's look at the component code. So the component code is nothing special. So you have a 3 state. First one, user, also error, and show fun facts. Okay, so when the component first mounts, is get the user and then is set the user state if data is available, and then in a render we just return the name and company as you've seen in the screen before, and the button on click basically set the show fun fact. So it's really simple component. Let me show you the get user function. So get user function basically use ReactJS and get from the GitHub API and with my username. So basically it's going to return my user details. Okay, so it's really simple. But how are we going to test this? Before that, I'm going to import those necessary imports that I need to do in order to render this React component. So basically import React, and then I import the app component. Okay, now the first thing I'm gonna specify the group of tests. So the describe basically means that this is the group of tests I want to run in this file. So the name of this group, I'm going to just name app, because app is the component I'm testing at the moment. And then I'm going to specify the unit test. So it's basically the unit test that I want to write. And the first argument it takes is the name of the test. So I think, to be fair, my first test is gonna be the error test. So because in the code it got this condition has error. If error happen, we display this error occur sentence. So I'm gonna say should display error if failed to fetch user. Okay, this is for test that I want to write. Okay, now if you look at the code, how can we simulate get user failure? So in order to do that, we need to mock this get user function. So I don't really want to actually fetch from the GitHub API. I just want to mock it. So in jest, you can mock that easily with jest.mock utils.get user. So basically, I want to mock this module, this file. That's why I put it here. And it take a function that return the implementation of that module. So right here, I'm gonna say get user. So jest.fn is just a stub method. Also, I need to import this into my app as well, because I want to mock the return value right here. So, but before that, I'm gonna say before any of the unit tests, I'm gonna reset all the mocks of the get user. So this gonna be start fresh. So basically mean that this start function, if in any of your unit tests make this function return a value, the before each gonna clear that value. So basically just an empty stub function before any test. Okay, so first thing I do, as you can see, it doesn't recognize a mock on get user because we need to type it. So I type it as jest.mock, basically because we already mocked it here. In TypeScript, it doesn't recognize that, so you have to specifically type it as jest.mock. I don't know why, even though we already specify it as jest.fn, but this is just the way it is at the moment. So right here, I'm gonna have a lot of function, a lot of mock functions to use. So right here, I'm gonna just throw an error. Now we mocked the get user function. Now I just want to render the app. So before that, I need to import render. I'm going to use a render function from the testing library. What it does is it actually render this component, but in the JS DOM is not the real DOM. And I can get a query byte text from the response from render. So this query is useful when you want to query a text in your component after it's rendered. So because get user is async, so we need to wait for this promise to be resolved. So one way to do that is using wait for. I'm gonna do it. Expect query by text. So query by text get a matcher, basically a regex. So basically I'm gonna take this up to be in the document. So basically I want to check if there is any error text that actually in the document after this promise is resolved. One thing I miss is to put a single wait. Because wait for a return promise. So basically it wait for this callback to be true. So because of that, it's gonna return a promise. So I'm gonna run this test and it should pass. Yeah. So one way to make sure your test is double false positive is to make it fail. See, so I just make it fail because this is an error message that actually display rendered, but the sentence here is not correct, not matched. Okay, we just finished writing our first test. So the second test I want to do is if no user return, I'm going to display this text. So I can copy all the skeleton here. If fetch user return no. So I'm gonna rewrite this mock resolve value. No. So now I will do exactly the same, however with different text that is rendered. Okay, I'm gonna run this test. So it passed. Again, make your test fail to prevent double positive. Okay, so it failed because this text not matched the one that we're looking for. So this test okay. Now so far we test these cases. Now we want to test how it's actually rendered when a user is returned. So I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna copy this skeleton, paste it here. It's gonna say it should render user information. So they're gonna resolve value. So say here I'm gonna do name. So basically I just need name and company. In company IA, this is where I work. Now I do exactly the same. So just wait for. So here it's gonna be min. And here just company IA. Okay, and also I want to find this button as well. And to find this button, I can also use query by role. Query by role, basically every element on a page got its role. For example, h3 the role gonna be heading. So here I got button, so the role should be button. And again, I just want to check to be in the document. Okay, so I'm gonna run this test. And it passed. Okay, and I'm gonna make this test fail. Now it failed, but it failed because I put expect the button not to be found. However, it found the button show fun fact right here, so that's why it failed. Now we completed 3 tests so far. Hope you guys learned something. So I think for this component, the only thing left is testing the on-click. So in order to do on-click testing, we need to have a synthetic event. But in React testing library, we have a file event API that we can use. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to copy the skeleton code right here. I'm going to change this should show render user fun facts, because when you click on button, the fun facts appear. So I'm doing exactly the same right here. So I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to import the file event. And I'm gonna use a find by text. So find by text is actually a async function. So it's gonna wait for the promise to be resolved. So find by text is gonna wait until it finds the text. So it's after some time it's not found a text, gonna throw an error. So it's really similar to wait for. So I'm gonna do a wait find by text. So basically I want to wait. I want to find this text after waiting for some time. So basically it's gonna find this text after this promise is resolved. That's why I put the await right here. So when the tag is found, I know that the fun fact is ready. So here I'm gonna file event, click. So I want to click on the elements. So this, I'm going to use a query by row. I'm going to query the button. Or maybe get by row. Okay, get by row actually better, because the query by row, it doesn't throw error when no element is found, but get by row will be, so it's just a mismatch of typing. That's why TypeScript complain. So we synthetic the events on this button. So I'm gonna expect this gonna be display, but I'm gonna get the query by text out first. Okay, I'm gonna click run right now, and it passed. So I'm gonna make it fail. And then actually fail because it's actually failed. I'm from Sydney, but here it said I don't want this to be found. So that's pretty much it for this video today. I hope you guys learned something. Testing library React is actually really useful, and it's also industry standard. If you like videos, subscribe to my channel. Thank you.